Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of my top 5 series. Today's episode will focus on the very complicated relationship between Daredevil and the Punisher. Their rivalry extends as far back to 1982 when these two first crossed paths during Frank Miller's run with Daredevil. So we're going to start with Daredevil issue 183. This is the very first meeting of Daredevil and the Punisher. Fun fact about this issue, they ran afoul of the Comics Code and had to wait some time before getting permission to get it published. So what happened exactly? In issue 183 and 184, they were initially slated to be issues 167 and 168. However, due to the sensitive nature of the story arc, young people getting addicted to drugs, they needed to tread lightly. Jim Shooter, who was editor-in-chief at the time, wanted to release the issues without the Comics Code, because they did it before with a Spider-Man comic book about drug abuse, but Marvel president at the time, Jim Galton, rejected the idea. So I'm not sure if anything was altered within the story to meet the Comics Code, but from my research, it appears the Comics Code became less restrictive when they finally got it published. So, there you go. Next on my list, we have Daredevil 257. This is from 1988, art by John Romita Jr. This story picks up from The Punisher Volume 2, Issue 10. And as far as the story itself, it's told from the point of view of the villain. Daredevil and the Punisher are tracking down for putting cyanide in aspirin, killing many people. The Punisher gets to him first, but he was lucky Daredevil intervened, as he usually does. The Punisher was about to throw the guy off the roof. So there's a really cool moment where the villain picks up the Punisher's gun during his fight with Daredevil. And so he's got the drop of these guys, and they just both look at him as cool as a cucumber. And before the villain catches a breath, Daredevil launches his billy club, knocking him out. Alright, next on my list we have Daredevil 293. This is from 1991, a cover by Lee Weeks, and it's just a sweet cover in terms of like clickbait. If it existed in 1988, this would be a reason to use that term for covers like this. The story itself is really cool. Taskmaster and Tombstone are auditioning for the Hand by competing against one another. They're both given a list of specific people to kill, and should they miss just one, they would be out of the contest. So Daredevil and Punisher must stop them from killing innocent people, and they do, but once again, Daredevil must stop the Punisher from killing both those guys. It's like Daredevil saying, "Hey, thanks for the help. No, don't kill them." Highlight of the comic is when Daredevil is facing Taskmaster, and Taskmaster is showing off how he can do anything Daredevil can do. So Daredevil here's a taxi heading in their direction and does a cool flip anticipating Taskmaster to do the same. And he does, and as he's saying ta-da, he gets smashed by the taxi. So it's really cool, really smart moment for Daredevil there. The next issue I have is Punisher number 3. This is from volume 5. This is in 2000 by Tim Bradstreet. He's got really some of the best Punisher covers, I think. And so this comic book stands out because it was adapted for Season 2, Episode 3 of Daredevil on Netflix. The Punisher gets the better of Daredevil during a fight, and he chains him up to a rooftop. They both have words and try to impress upon the other their own moral codes. When the Punisher puts Daredevil in the ultimate test, he straps a gun to his hand and has it pointed directly at his head as he peers over a ledge looking to take someone out with a sniper rifle. The Punisher forces Daredevil to make an impossible decision: stop the Punisher from murdering someone by shooting him, or don't pull the trigger and allow the Punisher to get the kill. Either way, blood is on Daredevil's hands. And believe it or not, with all of his attempts to convince the Punisher that murder is not the way to go to stop a criminal, he actually pulls the trigger, thus proving the Punisher's point. However, the Punisher rigged the gun by removing the firing pin, and in doing so, the reader is led to believe Frank Castle knew full well that Daredevil was going to take the shot. And so the two of them will always know, when it came to it, Daredevil was willing to take a life to save one. There are, lots of deaths in this issue. Punisher is just laying waste to the mob. And unlike the comic book, the TV show gives Daredevil a way out of the situation. So his hand is actually not tied in a fixed position, rather, to shoot the Punisher. So since it's not tied up, he shoots the chains that's holding him down, and the mob guy still dies, but only because Daredevil wasn't fast enough. So no direct guilt necessary. He gets to keep the moral high ground. And last but not least, this one is really intense. This is the end of the Daredevil versus Punisher means and ends story. This is number 6 of the miniseries. This is also from 2006. This is a 6-part miniseries that is a banger of violence and brutality. The Punisher's out to kill, and Daredevil is always there trying to stop him. If you really want to see these guys throw down, this is the series for you. By the end of it all, the Punisher still kills a whole lot of people. Daredevil and the Punisher come nearly close to killing each other. It was almost certain it was going to be the end of one of them until the mob shows up. This issue stands out not just because of the sheer violence they serve on each other, but it also gives a retelling of the Punisher's origin story. In the end, these two are neither friend or foe. They both have unshakable convictions, polar opposite of one another, so their paths inevitably cross. This year, 2022, we've seen Frank Castle become a leader of the Hand, while Daredevil and Elektra are leading the Fist. The Fist is an organization meant to combat and counter the Hand, so they will have plenty more battles in the future, and I'm looking forward to them. So, these are my top 5 Daredevil versus Punisher comic books in my collection. You got any recommendations of battles between these two? Let me know down in the comments. So anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for hanging out.